Good day, my fellow brothers and sisters. You are with Strong Inspirations. I'm Anthony Brogdon. And as you know, I come at you straight, no chaser. I bring it to you as hard as I can with whatever questions I can come up with because I let my people tell the story. I got a guy on right now that my man putting a little dig on me because he in Florida and I'm in Michigan. But that's all right. I don't have no problem with it because, you know, I know what it's like. I've been in warm weather. But I'm coming down there to hang out with you, my friend. And so everybody, thanks for being on the channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notifications bell. All of it's free. And you can tell somebody for free. How about this? If you tell somebody, I give you a nickel. Now you're making money. That's what we talk about on this channel. Only black folks making money. It's a joke. Watch my film, please. Business in the Black, the rise of black business in America. I'm blowing you away with 75 minutes that's going to put something on your mind of slaves who went to college, slaves who owned businesses, slaves who bought their freedom, slaves who escaped, slaves who helped other slaves. It's in my film, and it's on Amazon, and real reasonably priced. You know, it's streaming on the site, so you can watch it on your television, and you'll see me at the beginning in the blue pimp stripe suit. It's called Black Business Book. This is the book I wrote to go with the movie, and it's over 200 facts of mind-blowing information. The movie got facts, but the book got more facts. So it's on Amazon, and if you want to cut the Amazon man out and go straight to the source, go to inspirationsbystrong.com, inspirationsbystrong.com. And so, you know, what's happening is I'm a little thrown off because the brother's sitting there and he ready to tell a story. And we were just talking offline a minute ago, and you know, I'm getting caught up in him because he got something good to tell y'all. So go ahead, introduce yourself and let's roll.
Anthony, thank you so much for having me on your show. My name is Floyd Phillips. I am resident of St. Augustine, Florida. I grew up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I'm the son of a sharecropper. During the time that I was growing up, opportunities were very limited for African Americans.
Hold on, I got to stop you right there, brother. Idea just popped in my mouth. Your dad is a sharecropper.
My father was a sharecropper.
And was he a proud man as a sharecropper? Did he look at that like a really, you know, good job type thing that started to get to another job? How did he feel being a sharecropper? It just popped in my head.
Well, I think my mom was probably the one who was a little bit more aggressive in that after a couple of years, several years being a sharecropper and never been able to get out of debt, right. Because the story was each time that it was time to settle up. Right. Well, you have a great year, but
right.
You didn't quite make it, so you're going to have to keep working and so on and so on.
Okay,
so,
let me stop you right there. What do you mean settle up?
Well, the system works sort of like this. The person who owned the land controlled the purse strings. So they advance supplies, that is seeds, fertilizer, and some food. So as a result,
food for you to eat.
Yes.
Okay.
And however, the accounting was always maintained by the man. And so the man had an opportunity to manipulate the books. So no matter how successful you might have been, you were never able to earn enough money to make a profit or to make decisions to say, as an example, you know, I think I'll leave and move someplace else.
So you kind of tied to this guy because you owe him money.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So until one day my mom decided, you know, Ben, my father's name was Ben. She said to my dad, Ben, this just doesn't work. It's an unfair system, and I refuse to continue within the system.
Now, hold on, let me stop you there. How do you know that? She told you or you heard her say it?
I heard her say this. She told me.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
Oh, yes. And she said, I'm leaving. You can join me if you like. So as a result, they moved from where they were living in a rural area in Alabama and settled in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Okay, let me stop you there. For her to say she's leaving and your dad owed a man money, right? Or he didn't owe it, or he just said, hey, I don't care what I owe you, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Now you got it. Does the guy act like he gonna come after your dad to put him in jail or anything crazy like that to get the money?
No. There was no follow-up on his part.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Good. And so they moved to Tuscaloosa. And this is where my story started. I was born in Tuscaloosa by a midwife, not a hospital. You're familiar with the midwifey thing, right?
Okay, yeah, I think I heard of that.
Yes, and so I grew up there in Tuscaloosa, and so at this point now, I'm trying to earn money to purchase school books, and in order to do that, we had to pick cotton, and the rate of pay was 1 cent per pound.
You were how old at this age?
I was probably somewhere around 12 years old at this time.
All right.
And try as I might, I was never able to earn $1 within a day.
Let me ask you this question. Yeah, I'm sorry for popping the match, but I like what you're saying. Okay. How did you get good at picking cotton? Did you have a technique that made you fast?
No, I was very poor at picking cotton. It was grueling work. It was very uncomfortable in that it was very hot. The average temperature at that time probably was somewhere 90 to 100 degrees.
Woo! And you outside in the field picking cotton.
In the field picking cotton, and of course, you had there was a smell of cotton poison because you had an insect called a boll weaver.
Yeah, I heard of it.
That ate the cotton bolls. And as a result, they sprayed these plants to keep them at bay. And so you had to breathe that poison.
Did you have a mask on?
No, I didn't even know about masks. No such thing.
Did you wear gloves?
No.
Isn't there thorns near the cotton bolls?
Yes, it was. You always had fingers that had hangnails because of being stuck by the tips of the cotton bolls. As a result, as I said, your fingers were sometimes raw. And so I began to consider alternatives to working in the cotton field.
Before you go there, this cotton field thing is an angle. I'm sorry. Now, is it there in cotton field, are there bushes and you had to reach around the bush to get to the bowl? The bowl is high, is it low? Where's the bowl on the cotton?
Well, the cotton plants that I was involved with were probably somewhere around 4 feet tall, 4 feet tall, let's say. And the bowls were growing within that bush, that plant.
So you got to stick your hand in the plant to get around some stuff to get to the bowl.
Yes.
Ooh.
And at the same time, you had a cotton sack that was on your shoulder, and you had to pull this sack all day long. And now that sack could weigh, or the more cotton you put in, the more the heavier it became.
Okay. Now, so with this, you can understand, you can kind of feel what slaves felt like having to do this every day.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God.
That was not a pleasant experience.
Was there, did you wear a hat all the time?
If that was one, when that was one available, yes.
How did you get water to drink and stuff? What do you think what, you took your own water bottle or what?
No, that would be water available at the end of the row. And sometimes the row could be the length of 8 to 10 football fields.
Whoa! The end of a row is 8 to 10 football fields?
Yes.
That's 100 yards. So 800 yards?
Yes.
My God! Oh, how long did it take you to walk from one row to the next?
It took me a very long time because
I don't care how good you are. How long does it take you?
Well, I really can't give you a definitive answer.
Yeah, but it takes a minute though.
But it would take you, it might take you from the time that you started until almost noon to get from one end of a row to another one.
Oh my God, okay. And at the end of the row, if you good, you picked how many pounds of cotton?
Well, I'll put it this way. You would pick, and whenever you would get your cotton sack filled, it would be weighed and it would be noted as by your name, the number of pounds that you had in your.
Okay, this leads this question. How many, in one row, how many sacks would you fill?
Well, as a kid, what would happen with me was my mom would assist me. In other words, my mom would pick on 2 separate rows. And she would get so far ahead of me that she would come back and pick on my row to catch me up to where she was.
So she was good. She was fast. She knew how to do it like that.
She could do it. She could do it. It was not uncommon for my mom to pick more than 200 pounds of cotton per day.
And that's 2 rows maybe.
Plus whatever she had gotten from my row.
I got you.
Because I was no good at it. I mean, I really put in the effort, but some things you're good at, some things you're not.
Because you got to see it. You got to stick your hand through the bushes, stab it, get around the twigs on it, and pull the cotton off.
Yes. So you have it's like a bowl, and I think there might have been about 5 different or 6 different projections, and the cotton itself would be in there, and you would have to insert your fingers and take it out and put it in your sack.
I see. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What? And there were snakes out there too, wasn't it?
Never encountered many snakes because of the cotton poison. It was very had a very unpleasant smell, and the snakes probably were repelled by that smell.
I got you. But you got to smell that all day.
Yes.
And you're dirty and dusty on your gym shoes and your pants and your shirt.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's jump back. That's what slaves went through.
Slaves went through more than that because if you didn't pick enough cotton, of course, they were beaten.
So your dad did that for how many years? That you might remember or something like that.
Well, my dad, I don't remember my dad ever picking any cotton. My dad.
Oh, because they had moved already by that time.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I got you.
And by this time, my dad had a job in a factory. So
he was young when he was doing that picking cotton, and all the way till he, had gotten married and had a kid or 2.
Yes.
I see. Did his hands look withered?
No. My dad was a very enterprising person. The last job that my father had, he worked as a fireman, not on a fire truck. He worked in a plywood factory, and his job was to make sure that the boilers that generated steam, which powered the plant, never went out. So my father's job was to make sure fuel was put into the boilers to keep that fire going. And his shift was from midnight until 6 a.m., 7 days per week. or 7 nights per week, I should say.
Yes. And so, man, that's good stuff there. So now your mom, so you growing up in this, have you ever been called a nigger?
No, not one time in my life.
Have you ever seen some white people that you knew were racist and had to run away from, or something like that? Or were there kids in your school that you grew up with that had racist attitude?
No, because I always attended segregated schools. But
Black only.
I'm fully aware of racism. I had a neighbor who was a very, very attractive woman who could have easily passed for white. And matter of fact, she was employed by a store, a local store. And in that store, they had a lunch counter. And she worked behind the counter, and she worked alongside white folk who didn't realize that she was not a white person. She became intimately involved, or romantically involved, I should say, with a white guy. And at some point, that came to light. And she was given 12 hours, I think, to leave town. And
really?
We never saw her again. We also had a Black physician who had hospital privileges, which was rare in those days, who got involved with a white nurse. And here again, once that came to light, he was told to not be in town when the sun came up. He moved to Atlanta, and he was never seen again by the people in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
So in those days, you knew your place in Tuscaloosa?
Yes.
Okay, your place is where? In that neighborhood, that school, you come downtown and you leave at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What's your place?
Well, it was not a sundown town. Are you familiar with a sundown town?
Yeah, I've heard of it, yes.
Okay. Well, this was not a sundown town, because Tuscaloosa had a university, that is the University of Alabama. And of course, it was maintained by Black folk. So they freely moved throughout the city day and night, working, going to work, and back and forth. So I don't have any recollection of there ever having been any issues there. However, it was not uncommon for the KKK to be seen day or night
really?
In downtown Tuscaloosa. I have seen KKK in full regalia in downtown Tuscaloosa, Alabama, on a typical Saturday afternoon.
Okay, what does that make you feel? Run the other way?
No.
You walk beside them.
No, I never
don't stare at them.
I never had an encounter with the KKK. Now, the Grand Wizard, a guy named Bobby Shelton, lived in Tuscaloosa. He was so tough, quote unquote, that he fell from an airplane and broke his arm.
And that's all he did.
That's all he did.
Oh, okay. But now, okay, when you said you saw them KKK downtown, again, what did you do? You just saw them off in the down the street there, and you went the other way, or what do you do?
No, this was just commonplace. It was Black folk realized that these are folk who will harm you. They were bullies, intimidators, call it what you will. KKK, White Council, these were folk who were ministers, bankers, attorneys.
Wow.
What? I'm sorry?
I said, wow.
Oh, yeah. That's the way it was.
And so they're walking around in this regalia because they don't care who when they're seen. But I mean, they're going to the grocery store, to the bank, or something like that, or they getting ready to cause some harm to somebody.
Or they could have just been simply going to a meeting.
A KKK meeting.
Yeah.
But would they ever go into the grocery store in KKK attire?
No. I never saw one in a grocery store.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not like every day this is what I'm wearing.
No.
Were there? This is a crazy question. Were there women KKK?
Of course.
Never knew that.
Well, let me tell you about a situation
Yeah.
that occurred here in St. Augustine. In 1963, 4 men in St. Augustine. One was a gentleman named Jimmy Jackson, who is still alive. One was Dr. Halen. You probably heard about Robert Halen, who was a dentist.
Okay.
And there were 2 other young men had an encounter. That was going to be a KKK meeting in St. Augustine. And so these guys decided that they were going to the meeting.
Black guys.
And so they sneaked into the meeting. And of course, they were found out. And they were ushered up to the front. And they were severely beaten. And they were doused. They were severely beaten. And they were tied. And the plan was to douse them with gasoline and burn them alive. Okay. At the 11th hour, someone who was embedded within the KKK was able to get a word to the sheriff, who did not want to have these black men killed on his watch. And they were rescued. Jimmy Jackson will tell you to this day what actually happened, because he's still alive and he's a friend of mine.
Unbelievable.
That happened here in St. Augustine. A lot of people are not aware of that story.
Unbelievable. So now we jump to Augustine. We're going to get there in another 2 minutes. You in Tuscaloosa, you graduated from high school there?
I graduated from high school in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
All black high school.
An all black high school.
And you have a prom?
Yes.
You got a prom. Football team plays white schools or just the black schools?
Football team only played black teams.
In other nearby areas outside of Tuscaloosa, or what was in Tuscaloosa?
In the Tuscaloosa County, we had, matter of fact, an outstanding football program. So it was quite storied.
Okay. The white kids, do you run into them? Do you have any action with them in high school, at the same ice cream shop, or anything like that?
Well, everything was segregated. That was
Okay.
A Dairy Queen in Tuscaloosa. And I ended up getting a job working for Tuscaloosa Photo Service. And I used to have to walk by this Dairy Queen on the way home from work. And, they have the windows with the delicious milkshakes and hot dogs and so forth.
Sure.
At the windows.
Sure.
And black folk could purchase their products, but you had to go to the back door and be served out of the back door. And there was something on the inside of me that would never allow me to go to the back door to make a purchase. So I never had an opportunity to have one of those milkshakes or hot dogs.
Ooh. So then you graduate from there, and then you go on, and now you're in St. Augustine, and which is a beautiful city. I've never been there. What's St. Augustine look like?
Well, Dr. King said St. Augustine was the most racist place that he had ever been. And I'm talking about Memphis, Montgomery,
You see that
Birmingham.
about Chicago too.
Yeah. The climate in St. Augustine was pretty rough from what I understood, what I've been told. And of course, you know, we have racism every place, and it's alive in St. Augustine to this day. However, some efforts are being made to change that. We're having community conversations, and I'm happy to say that I do see some light at the end of the tunnel.
And you're playing a big part of that because you have a museum that you started. Did you start the museum? Tell us about the museum.
Well, no, I did not start the museum. My wife and I, Gail, walked into the museum one day, and it was such a dismal place that my wife said something called out to her, and she just felt as though she was there for such a time as this. And she decided that I have to do something about this museum because it was on the brink of being closed. It was going down the tubes. And as a result, Gail and I decided that we would dedicate 3 years of our lives to try and save this museum and give it some sustainability.
What's the name of it? Yeah, tell us about it. What's in the museum?
It's the Lincolnville Museum and Culture Center. And it's an African-American museum. And our mission, of course, is to promote Black history and deal with more than 450 years of history in the Northeast Florida region. In this museum, you're going to find awesome exhibits from the early history of St. Augustine when the Spaniards came here, when African Americans came here, and they were free, by the way. They weren't enslaved people. This is the oldest city, of course, in the country, in spite of what's been told up north in the Tidewater area. And when we've had the conversations with representatives of the National Park Service, they wink and they say, well, we're talking about the English version. Because as you know, there was a Spanish influence here in St. Augustine. Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing. And so what's the website for the museum so people can come down?
LincolnvilleMuseum.org.
Lincolnville Museum. That's going to be in the description, everybody. Is there a festival that happens in St. Augustine that Black people come together?
Traditionally, we have had the Lincolnville Festival. And of course, because of COVID, it was not put on this past year, but we hope to get back to that. And it's a time that, matter of fact, the Lincolnville Festival started years and years ago. And it was to celebrate the fact that Lincolnville Museum, the Lincolnville community was started right after the Civil War by people who had been enslaved and by soldiers who had returned to St. Augustine from the Civil War. And originally it was called Little Africa. It was subsequently renamed Lincolnville in honor of President Lincoln.
Beautiful, beautiful, brother. Everybody, I told you it was going to blow your mind. He took me in a direction that I didn't know we were going to go. He told it straight from Chaser, man. I tell you, man, I truly appreciate you putting your heart and soul and telling us about how you grew up. Now, how about this? You got your college degree?
Of course.
Man, after all that, come on, man, tell us a little bit. Where'd you go to college?
Well, I was a National Merit Scholar. You familiar with that program?
No, man, I ain't familiar with nothing like that.
Well, the National Merit Scholarship Program is a program whereas if you take the National Merit Examination and you successfully complete it, you are skipped from the 11th grade and you enter college directly. So I was supposed to enter and become a member of the Morehouse.
Oh my God, to the house, it goes.
Yeah. And during the summer before I was to go to Atlanta, I was informed by Morehouse that I was too old for the program. Now, my birth date is June 25th.
You were too old at 11th grade?
Yeah, because, you know, it's sort of like when you're ready to enroll your child in first grade.
Yeah.
If your birth date comes after a certain cutoff date, you're too old, so you have to sit out.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. Yeah, my
So that's
December.
what happened to me. Now, what they decided to do in my case was, I had a full ride to Morehouse, but they said since I was too old for the program, that they were going to still let me come and give me a half tuition scholarship. Now, at the time that this occurred, I had two sisters in college. And remember, my father and mom both had a fourth grade education. And I had no counseling, and I had no idea about the fact that there was a thing called work study for students. And of course, Pell Grants were not in vogue, and I had no funds. So as a result, I had to remain and do my 12th grade year at Druid High School in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I subsequently got a scholarship to attend Stillman College, the local college in Tuscaloosa. I attended there, graduated there with a degree in biology and mathematics. And I always wanted to be a physician. But here again, with no money to go to medical school, I became a teacher. And after teaching school 1 year in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where my starting salary was $3,200, and that was $200 more than the starting salary, but I had good credentials and recommendations. So as a result, it didn't take me long to realize that I cannot have the kind of lifestyle that I want on a teacher's salary. So I took a position in Palm Beach County, Florida as a teacher, and my salary at that point was $5,200. So I thought I was doing a lot better. However, it was in Belgrade, Florida, which is the muck land, and I was very uncomfortable because I ran head up with Jim Crow. There were no good housing available to African Americans. And
in Florida. And where, what city was this?
This was in Belgrade, Florida.
Belgrade,
a little town in Palm Beach County. So as a result, they had houses that were available across the track, but only to white folk. So I decided that I need to get out of this contract with the school board and move to California. So
we're gonna stop it there, because I know you can tell a no story. We're gonna stop it there, everybody, because he's killing us. But what he told us is this man's life story. Unbelievable. Him and his sisters all went to college with parents with fourth grade education. I thank you so very much for being on Strong Inspirations. I tell you, you blew my mind. I'm coming down there to see you. Everybody, this is what we do here. Subscribe. Nothing else said. Like. Nothing else said. Hit bell. Nothing else said. Tell somebody about us. Thank you for being on the channel. And I say to you, my brother, I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. We really appreciate you sharing this. And bye-bye, we out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right now.